The only real God is the one that you believe in. Start looking for the God in others. And if you find you're tuning into a wave, well then I don't know much about being saved.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, friends.
Welcome into another episode of Spiritual Philosophy Chatter with the Joneses. I'm Danny Jones.
And I am Samantha Jones.
And here we are, episode 132.
132.
What is our topic?
This is Paranormal Teeth Chatter.
Oh.
Yeah, because it's Halloween.
Sounds spooky.
Yeah. Yep.
Cool.
It's perfect for this
All
Halloween
right.
week.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And kind of with all the mysterious things we've been doing lately.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, before we hop into it, do you have anything you want to share from last week?
Yes, last week we did the moon and
Yep.
all of its mysteries. And we received this message, and I would like to read it. This is
Cool.
from Haley, and I thought this was a beautiful message. I thought it was so beautiful. The first time I read it, I cried for about a half hour afterwards. And
Yeah.
he witnessed it, so I'm not lying.
Yeah. That
Okay.
was cool.
So I'm going to try and get through it this time. Okay. She says, "Good afternoon, guys. I am on episode 46, Dolores Cannon, and I am mind blown right now because I randomly came across Dolores Cannon and her views about extraterrestrial life a month or so ago and watched some of her videos and was just fascinated. Anyways, I just wanted to see if there was any if there were any podcasts about her, so I typed in Dolores Cannon to Spotify and y'all's episode popped up. I loved you both so much as a couple and was fascinated by the intro of the episode, so then I started from the beginning episode and have been working my way up, and this episode just came on and it just made me so emotional because you guys have helped me in so many ways. And I instantly connected to your beliefs, and everything you are saying just makes so much sense. And I'm just so thankful to know that there are so many other people out there that believe the same things I do. And y'all have even opened my eyes to new things, and it has got me journaling and getting back into my tarot cards and learning more about myself and my kids and my boyfriend. It is bringing me closer to my soul, and it has filled me with so much love and patience and understanding of just life in general and what being human is all about. It's so inspiring. I just wanted to share my support for your show, and I love you both so much. I really feel like I know you, and I look forward to going to work every day just to listen to your podcast." Whoo, I made it.
Yeah, that was hard to get through, and I was just listening. Thank you, Haley. Wow, that's nice.
Yeah, I had to a couple of times relax, because you start to feel the spirit.
Mm-hmm.
They fill you up with this "do you see what you're doing" type of feeling, and it just becomes way too overwhelming.
It really does.
Yeah.
Like to show you just what love in its purest form is so intense. It's like, whoa.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
And
pretty amazing.
It's nice. It's nice to hear that it makes sense for people because it makes sense for me.
Yeah.
And you. And so
Yeah.
to share this and go out on a limb,
Yeah.
so to speak, and maybe put a podcast out there every week talking about a lot of topics that maybe a lot of people just would go pass right by.
Yeah. Yeah. Or that they're uncomfortable even
Or things
hearing
that make them
about.
uncomfortable,
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm,
for whatever
absolutely.
reason, but yeah.
Yeah. So thank you, Haley.
Thank you.
That was very
That
nice.
was so cool.
Yeah, we really appreciate that for sure. And then for our questions this week, let me get you to the first one. The first one is from Kathy. She said, "If people who pass shed their earthly bodies, how come in readings people speak of spirits being able to run again or breathe or whatever?" That's a great question.
Mm-hmm.
So when they do these types of things, they're showing us their personality, but they're showing us too, like, let's say, like, that somebody died from COVID and they were having trouble breathing, they show that they can breathe again to show that they don't feel any of that pain over there. And it also is a way for them to show me what might have taken their life or other things that are wrong with them. So a lot of times a dog that has like hind end problems, he'll show me that he's running back and forth all over the grass because he couldn't do that anymore. So he wants his owner to know I'm okay, and this is the problem that I had in life, but it's not a problem I have anymore.
And if it goes further, it's like we're not passing with our bodies, we're passing with our consciousness.
Yeah.
So anything in our consciousness that that we would like to, meaning the other side, that we would like to relive, like say maybe we want to run, but we want to run pain-free.
Yeah.
We can do that.
Absolutely.
Because it's within your conscience. You don't need a body, you can imagine it.
Yeah.
And it becomes sort of a reality. That gets a lot of, Dolores talks a lot about that and how in heaven it kind of works, where you can show a body if you want to, or you can just be a spirit or an orb, and it doesn't really matter to anybody.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for sure. I like that question. I think it's a good question. Okay, and then the next one that we have, this is a three-part question kind of, but I think it all kind of goes together. This is from Jonathan. He said, are we living in a real world or some sort of AI matrix? Are other people real, or are they just NPCs in our personal life? Are we being tested by something on a higher plane of existence? So I felt like these all kind of fit together a little bit in the simulation theory. So I'll start with are we living in the real world or some sort of AI matrix? I personally believe that this is a simulation. So I don't believe that this is a real world. No. But I don't believe that it's AI either. No. I believe that the universe is what is...
I'd call it DI, divine
there you go.
Intelligence.
We are basically controlling ourselves. And then we have spirits helping us. But a piece of us stays on the other side. Right. And so that's our higher conscience. That's our higher self. Right. And so we are helping guide ourselves. Kind of like, that's why I say playing a video game. Because when you're playing the video game, you're just moving your character around. And so, but we have a lot more free will here than like a video game. That character only does what you tell it to do. But
that's
here...
the clincher, really, that's the big difference. And it's an organic simulation, so it's not digital. It's not...
Right.
Connected by man-made wire or AI wire.
Yeah, absolutely. And then are other people real, or are they just NPCs in our personal life? NPCs, I can't remember what that stands for, but it's basically like just somebody that doesn't really matter, like a background person. This is something that I struggle with. Dolores says that background people are just there to fill space, that we have in our kind of simulation, that we have our soul families and our people that we're supposed to interact with, but everybody else is just like in a movie, it's background. And I grab onto that, and I can see how that would make a lot of sense. But it's hard for me to go a lot deeper on it. I've found myself being out in public and wondering that, seeing people just walking around thinking like, are these people, do they really have a life, or are they just placed here in my simulation?
I think that my personal opinion is it is simulation, but what makes this thing so amazing is that it's a multi-simulation. So everybody's simulating at the same time. And yes, to you or me, people we go out in the streets and we just happen to look at them or notice them. To us, that's just background people.
Yeah.
Somebody in a car next to you.
Yeah.
But at any given moment, if I sat and spoke to that person, I would understand they are doing the same thing I'm doing.
Yeah,
they are in a simulation, and I mean nothing to them. They mean nothing to me. There's no connection.
Right.
But it is a multi-thing. So, yes, there is a lot of this background thing, and that's what it's like when you go, well, that's like amazing. If you were thinking in computer terms, what kind of amazing memory that would require to have all this simulation happening at once, and it all kind of sort of depends on each other.
Yeah.
So we're not necessary, and that brings me to the kind of meeting people. You don't meet anybody, or things don't happen by accident.
No, not at all. Mm-mm. No. Dolores talks about that a lot of those background people don't really exist, though. They're just space fillers. So that's something that I trip on. You know, I try to like imagine that. Like, well, what are they then?
No, because if I could go up to any one of them and speak to them.
Well, yeah, but that doesn't mean that they exist. That just means they're
Right.
part of your simulation. We had this lady that we met years ago, right after the spiritual awakening started. We met her at this deli, and she sat next to us at this table. Do you remember this? And
Yeah.
it was basically like my mom took somebody over and was doing all these weird. This lady was talking to us. She took a potato chip off of my plate.
She asked for some food, like try to bite. Do you mind if I try a bite?
It was the weirdest thing. But afterwards, I thought about this. This was even before Dolores Cannon. I knew anything about Dolores Cannon, but I thought about this. I thought, was she real? Or was she put here because she was a big test? Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it was very weird.
Yeah,
It's.
it was.
I wish I would have, like, written all of that down because I forget a lot of the details about it. But I remember thinking, was she real, or was she just some strange angel that was placed here to interact with us like that?
Right.
And that's the type of thing that, after listening to Dolores, that I do wonder, like, can angels just come here and be,
Yeah.
you know?
That's something different.
Yeah.
Though, you know, when that's a whole different thing.
Angels are different, but
Right.
still, it could a person.
I could see that woman being, because she was like a modern day mini Pearl.
It was
like,
so weird.
That's what it reminded me
Yeah,
of. Like over the
so
top,
weird.
but really sweet, you know?
So many things said Linda about her appearance and the clothes she was wearing.
She had a lot of pink, a lot of colors.
It was just weird, very weird. But yeah, that was the first time I thought about that. And so it is one of those things that, you know, is baffling. We won't know until we die and go to the other side. But that's kind of my theory on it. And then the third part was, are we being tested by something on a higher plane of existence? The only thing that we're being tested by is ourselves. So there isn't like we all, okay, we can't say we all. A lot of people believe that we're here to impress a god, that he has a score sheet for us, and we have to, you know, we're being tested by him, and whatever we do, no. And you know what?
And that we will like be judged in order to enter this place that we call heaven.
Yeah. And you know what? Once I realized that the only entity that I was working for was myself, it changed the way I looked at things. Because I realized that I wasn't working for some god that I didn't even know existed. I was working for myself. I was working to make my life better and doing things, testing my own existence and all of that. So I truly believe that we are not being tested by a god, the universe, the source. That's not what we're being tested by. It's ourselves, so that we can move along on our soul's journey, because that really is what this is all about. This whole thing is about our soul's journey, and it's not just one life or two lives or three lives. There's so many of them, you know.
It brings you to, well, in terms of like having some sort of awakening, it brings you to terms of like, we are all, for me, this is what I came to, was we are all essentially one.
Yeah.
Okay, we walk around in different bodies, but we are of the same energy, which is from the source. So when you sort of make that decision, or you look at it that way, you choose to look at it that way, you want to live your life differently, because in some strange way, you're already automatically honoring the source.
Right, exactly.
The creator, by saying, wow, I want to do better.
Yep.
At this.
Yep.
You know, I want to figure this out and ask all these kind of vast questions and ponder and know the truths about things.
Yeah.
Then it begins.
Yep, exactly. So those were great questions.
They were cool.
Yeah.
Very
so thank you, Kathy and Jonathan, for those.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it. And then let's do the reading. We do one reading every week.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is from Teresa, and Teresa is also an animal communicator that I've worked with. Most recently, I worked with her with our new dog, Betty, and it was funny because, even for me, like, I get readings sometimes and some things won't make sense, and one of the things that I was hooked on was that Zuma was going to be too much for Betty, and Teresa said, no, it's going to be the other way around, and you know what, Teresa? You were right.
Yeah.
She's a little much for all of us. She's very sweet. But yeah, Teresa is a very good animal communicator who, I recommend all the time.
Yeah,
for sure.
She's good.
So, okay. So let's see. This is Matilda. She's living. How is her pain and recovery doing after surgery? Her final checkup, and she has her final checkup and to be released on November 4th. Thank you for your time and energy. And this is Matilda.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, she looks like a corgi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Short hair. Or is that long
Yeah,
hair?
it looks like it's medium-ish here. Okay, so let's see. So she's pulling me to her back end, so I'm assuming that this surgery that she had some kind of hip, or could even be stomach, but it's the back quadrant. Let's see, probably the back left, or the back right. Back right. I think it's the back right. So let's see what her pain level is like. She's actually feeling really good, she tells me. She didn't really quite understand what was going on. Like, Teresa tried to explain to her, but it's, even like with kids, you never really completely understand. This is a dog.
Right.
It's hard for them to really understand. So she wasn't really prepared for like this resting period afterwards, this quiet time needing to just chill and all of that. And that's been kind of a struggle for her. She gets a little bit restless is what I'm feeling. And there was pain. There was, of course, with any surgery, there's going to be pain. But she's feeling better now is what I'm feeling. I don't feel any of the pain from before or after. I think we're probably like on a pain scale, like a 2. So I think she should probably be released on November 4th. So that's good.
Yeah.
Let's see what else she has to say. So she wants me to tell you how much she appreciates your willingness to take care of her in these types of situations, in every type of situation, but you go above and beyond for her. And so she wanted to let you know because this talking to her, I'm sure that you hear this from her, but it's very different for an animal communicator to hear the same things from their animal that they hear themselves. So Teresa hearing this from me, it will validate for her what she hears from her dog herself. And one of those things is the gratefulness that Matilda has for you, for everything that you've done for her, because you are a wonderful dog mom and she appreciates it all. She loves people food. What is it? Is it bacon? It looks like it.
I don't blame her.
It looks like it's bacon. It's some kind of meat. Yeah. So I'm going bacon, something like that. Let me know. But she likes it. Bring it on. This might even be, there might be something that you hide pills in. I don't think you can hide pills in bacon, but maybe. So there's something else probably there too, cheese or something. Because she knows that the pill's in there is what she's telling me, but that
it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. And that's a good treat. That's a good treat. So anyway, so there's Matilda, and I hope that answered your question, Teresa.
Thanks, Teresa.
Yeah, thank you so much. So that's all I have for you from last week.
Very good.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's hop into it.
Yeah.
132.
Paranormal Teeth Chatter.
Thank you.
I threw you off a little bit there, didn't I?
Yes.
Whoop. Gave you some teeth chatter. Okay, so what is this episode about? So this is Halloween week, and I thought we should do a paranormal episode, just talking about things that maybe we don't normally talk about. So that's what this is about. So the definition, first of all, of paranormal is really simple. It's not scientifically proven. Anything that isn't scientifically proven. And to be really honest with you, unless I'm completely losing my memory, which is very possible at this point, I don't remember knowing that anything could fit into that paranormal that wasn't scientific. So that wasn't scientifically proven. So for example, Bigfoot is paranormal and aliens are paranormal. I got a whole list here for you. Let me tell you what they're. Bigfoot, aliens, ghosts, witches, astrology, psychics, and etc., etc. Everything that we're going to talk about today is paranormal.
Okay.
So that's a big, broad category there, because I think for a lot of people, I mean, myself included, kind of, when I hear the paranormal, I jump to something negative or something like, oh, this has to be about ghosts and hauntings and that type of thing. And it really is, that's a very small part of it, but there's so much more to it than paranormal. It just has, it's like given a bad name, you know?
Yeah, it's not the greatest label.
No, it's not. Not at all. Not at all. So we're going to talk today about the things that our discussion group thought that were most interesting, that they wanted to talk about. Some of these paranormal things. Oh, and by the way, some other words for paranormal are metaphysical and supernatural. So, like, when we were talking about naming this episode, I almost was like, let's maybe supernatural. But, yeah. So it all fits in there. So, the first thing we're going to talk about are orbs.
Yeah.
So what is an orb? An orb is a transparent ball of light energy that is connected to the spirit world. Orbs are usually captured in photos but can be seen with the naked eye. So pretty much every soul can go around and is an orb, basically. I gotta have a sip of my drink here real quick. So every spirit has an orb, right? Every spirit has this ball of energy. So when we see these, like in pictures and stuff, it's pretty amazing, you know?
Yeah. I don't think I've ever seen one with my naked eye, but definitely in photographs.
I haven't either, yeah.
I've taken photographs with them, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I asked our readers, actually, if they've ever seen an orb, and there were 21 votes in this, and most of them said yes in a photo I took, or yes in a photo someone else took, or yes on a home video. One of the craziest ones that we've had a lot of orbs, but one of my favorite ones was the day before we moved into this house. Something came up. We had an alert on the Ring doorbell, and it showed this ball of light begin at the bottom of the screen, and the ball of light went up and it stopped. It like lingered. And it was not a movement that anything else would have done. There's nothing that I could imagine could duplicate this.
Right.
Wasn't a bug. It wasn't.
No.
There's no explanation for what it was. And then it got to the top, and it didn't like exit. It dissipated. It almost came apart. Like it was so weird. The other weird thing about this is that my brother, the same day-ish, caught an orb on his camera.
Oh, wow.
And it was floating in the middle of the room. He took a screenshot of the video. Wow. It's like, wow, incredible.
Maybe his mom.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Because we were both moving, so I was like, that was kind of her way of, letting us know that we're moving on to bigger and better things. I felt like,
sure.
But they use this. They use their energy to show us that they're around. Because they want to be around us, And here's the thing, is that you may have orbs all around you right now, and you can't see them. Right. Why can't you see them? Well, there's a few reasons, probably, but the number one most likely reason is that your vibration's not high enough. Because they're vibrating at such a high rate, and we're nowhere near them. No. And I don't even get to the point, like, I see things, but I haven't seen an orb with my naked eye, so I don't even think I've gotten to that point. No. Now, I have talked to people that have seen them with their naked eye, so it can be done. But yeah, I've never had that.
That would be incredible.
Yeah, exactly. So let's see, I have one thing that I wanted to read on this subject. Okay, so this is from Gabe, because Gabe always likes to challenge everything.
Oh, Gabe.
So this is talking about the orbs, and he said, I'm on the fence about orbs. Too many things can cause anomalies like that on film and digital pics to immediately jump to a supernatural explanation. Okay, I get it. But let me explain this a little bit different. magic is real, but there needs to be a medium or something to use to show the magic. Right. Okay. So like we went to the Winchester house and we took a picture. I think it was my picture. Doesn't matter. But it was, people were saying that it was a reflection. Okay. That there was something that the camera was reflecting off of. That's not what was going on, but let's say it was. Let's just say that there was a reflection or refraction or whatever you want to call it that was happening. That is what the spirits use to show themselves. Yeah. So they need something to show themselves, especially to us because our vibration is lower. So they use all of these things. So yes, it could be like, here's another example. A lot, you'll notice this a lot, and I do get asked this a lot on the iPhone, especially, that there's a blue dot. Okay, a lot of times when you're taking a picture, especially like at night, the blue dot by itself is not anything. I don't know what you call that, but it's something that the iPhone is making, okay?
Right.
However, if you see that it's a weird shape or it has multiple layers or there's anything different about it, zoom into it and have a look, because we had one that was misshapen and it was shaped exactly like a woman's head of a woman spirit that I had connected with that same day. So there are things they use these. So that was her showing herself to us in what was not a real orb, but she presented herself in this camera made. I don't even know what it is, but whatever it is, that's what she used. That was the medium, the energy, whatever you want to call it, that she used to show herself.
Yeah, and you could see her. It's
clearly.
Incredible. The same thing with what you were talking about, like with the Winchester's photos. Some people may have thought there was glass in front, and like you said, they could even use reflections in that sense too. In this particular situation, there was no glass in front of us. There was no screen. It was a wide open window.
Yeah.
But in the photograph, you look in the horizon line where the trees and the buildings are. You look down in the grass area of the foregrounds around the house. There's images throughout it all.
Yes.
They're using their abilities to use shadows and things. I figured out, like, I take some of these photos and mess with a little bit of their contrast, so it'll bring certain shadows out that, with, again, a naked eye, I'm not seeing.
Right.
But when you do, you can see all of a sudden it comes much more prominent. Right. So I think in one photo in particular, there was something like 4 or 5 images of different people.
Yeah,
but
there were a lot.
They were all connected to this home.
There was a dog.
And I think 3 or 4 people.
And you know what? 5 years ago, I would have been a huge skeptic of this. But when you started doing that to the picture, you know, the shadows and bringing them forward, I was like, oh my gosh. And it makes so much sense because they can't, how else are they going to do this? How else are they going to show you that
they have
they're
no
around?
Physical body.
Right. So they have to somehow use shadows, use light, use different, especially energy, to manipulate the energy.
Yes.
So it's not far-fetched to me at all. I can see why to some people it might be, but you have to open your mind a little bit more.
Yeah, and I get Gabe's point, you know, that these, we can see it all the time in television and photographs, how the lens refracts sunlight and makes certain geometric type shapes, right?
Yeah.
And we can see that. We don't see that when we look ourselves, right? At the sunlight.
Yeah.
This is doing something that we don't see with our naked eye. Only a camera's picking up even those refractions.
Yes.
But, and you can see sometimes when it's just a refraction, that it goes along with sort of like a light angle, or seems to be an exact duplicate, but printed lighter, less opaque, I guess.
Yeah.
Or if I'm saying that right. But it's funny because I even showed Gabe in a photograph where we had a jam at our old house with a bunch of people from all these different bands, kind of in the 90s. early to mid 90s. So a lot of these bands were around, but we kind of invited them all to our house and had this big jam. And there was a bunch of pictures that I took and other people took. And there was one in particular, and I don't even know if Gabe remembers it, but there was something like we counted like 7.
Yeah, I remember. There were a lot.
And it didn't make sense because the lighting, it didn't follow any kind of pattern.
Yeah.
But they were all over the room.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember that. That was wild.
So.
And you know what? I get a lot of people that post in my reading group pictures and ask, is this an orb? And I'll be totally honest with you if I don't think it's an orb or, you know, if it's just a regular. A lot of times I have you look at them to, you know, give me a second opinion. So if anybody has any that they want us to look at, you can send them over and we'll look at them. Because a lot of times you play with them, you blow them up, and you can see all kinds
for
of things.
sure, because sometimes you'll see something within it. That
Yep.
I remember, which I came across my photos. My photo memories I was looking at was the fires in Malibu.
Yeah.
And we went up to your friend's home that had burned down.
Yeah.
And took pictures all around the neighborhood. But there was some incredible, like, stuff going on in these photographs. Like, not just the refraction of the light, but some serious, like, orb, coloring orbs.
Yeah, there were.
And then there was images within these.
Yeah.
And you could feel it.
Yeah.
You could feel them. Because this community was sad.
Yeah.
You know, that they had to go through this, and you could just feel the love.
Yeah. It was incredible, for sure. Orbs are good. They're not negative. So if you see them, always take them as a good sign. It's just the loved ones wanting to show that they're around and finding new ways to show they're around.
They're the same as you, but minus the meat suit.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. You're an orb within a meat suit. How's that?
Exactly.
Yep. All right. So
hurling through space on a rock. I don't know. Gabe always says that.
Yeah. All right. Moving on. Let's talk about shadow people. So first of all, what are shadow people? Shadow people are just that. They're shadows. This is one of the first things that I started seeing when I got my abilities and I started working on them was shadows. And I would see things out of the corner of my eye and it would freak me out. I don't know if you remember.
They're more of a peripheral type of thing. Yeah.
They're very peripheral.
Yeah.
Chelsea and I actually have a nickname for them. We call them shadow effers.
Right.
Because they can pop up on you and scare you. Because anything that pops up on you is going to scare you, even if it's not scary. You know what I mean? So you see a shadow out the corner or out the side of your eye, and you're like, "Whoa, what is that?" You know, but they're not. It's not bad. But that's exactly what it is it's a shadow. And I see them with people and dogs and other animals. Sightings of shadow people are the most often reported types of ghost or spirit sightings.
Wow.
The majority of people that report them do describe them as scary, creepy, or even evil. However, when asked why they feel this way, the most common was that they have no reason.
Right.
Right.
'Cause I saw it in a movie once.
Exactly. They just figured a dark figure was evil. So that's what they felt. But of course, that's totally normal. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's what we're taught.
We're in a universe that we're floating in blackness. Does that mean it's black is evil?
Not at all, but it's what our minds are programmed to believe. Right. You know what I mean? So people are like, well, why is this spirit showing themselves in black? There must be something wrong if they're showing themselves in black, because black is for death and funeral. And no, because what else are they going to do? Do you know what I mean?
They're using kind of light and shadow to, I think if they just popped up in front of you as if they were their real life, it would freak you out.
It would absolutely freak people out. They're not supposed to do that.
No.
Yeah. So they have to show us these little ways. The first shadow animal that I saw was our dog Sequoia, maybe like 24 hours after she passed. I don't even think it was that. I remember laying on the couch and Sabbath he was in the living room with me, but I saw this black figure walking along. And I was like, "Oh, hi, Sab." But he's sitting right there, and he looked up and saw it too. We both saw it. We both saw Sequoia's shadow. I was like, "Whoa, that's a trip." And I've seen ferrets that I've had. Yeah. I've seen all kinds of animals. The people, sometimes I know who they are, but they come and go so fast. You know, because you've had them too, haven't you?
Mostly in the old house, like when we lay and I'd watch like at night to go to sleep watching TV, and our door would be open and kind of the light in the hallway from the TV would kind of go down, but the hallway was kind of dark.
Yeah.
I felt like I could see them only when I'd look at the TV, but when I'd look over,
they're gone.
Yeah, it's like not there.
Yeah, and that's one of the characteristics of these shadow people is that you do go to look at them, straight on, and they're gone. They disappear. So you think that it's your imagination. You think that you're seeing things or that there's something wrong with my eyes or whatever, but honestly, no, you're just seeing these things. And if you're opening up your spiritual side and you're open to this, I highly doubt you haven't seen one yet. And if you haven't, you probably will soon. Because I think it happens to all of us. And it's kind of nerve-wracking at first, but then you understand, that they are just showing you that they're there. So.
And if you have like a major fear, then they probably won't.
Right.
They might feel like, this person's not... I will just scare them. We don't want to scare you.
Yeah, no, we don't want to scare you. When I was doing this research, and I know what shadow people are, but I always like to look and see if I can find a definition for something because I think that the dictionary can help explain it better than I can. So I was looking for something that I could, use as the definition for shadow people, and I actually came across this article that was entitled "If You See Shadows or Ghosts." And what it was is it said that this is the Mental Health of America, if you see these things, it said that you have psychosis, basically. And I sat there and I looked at this website and I was like, this is why people they have such a hard time grasping this because they go to look up, let's just say that you grow up with a very religious family, okay? And nobody's ever even said to you that this is a possibility, that you could see things. And then all of a sudden you start seeing shadows and stuff, and you're feeling all of these things. And then you go online to try and figure out what this is, and it tells you that you have psychosis.
Yeah.
That's why people are misdiagnosed with schizophrenia. Just for talking to spirits.
Right.
And then I can imagine some of them would go crazy because,
You're told you're crazy.
Yeah, you're told you're crazy. Absolutely. But, if you see shadow
that's
people...
Crazy.
That's crazy, man. If you see shadows, you're not crazy.
No.
It is one of the ways that they present themselves. Yeah. They have to use different, interesting ways of showing themselves.
I agree.
While we're on the subject of how they show themselves, let's talk about ghosts.
Ooh.
Okay. Ghosts and hauntings, kind of. We'll put this all into one category. So what is a ghost? How does it differ from a shadow person or an orb? Well, a ghost is the soul or spirit of a dead person or animal that may appear to the living. They don't always. But descriptions of ghosts vary widely, from an invisible presence to translucent to a realistic form. So I think possibly what you were seeing in the hallway wasn't so much a shadow person. I think you were seeing a ghost.
Okay.
And that is not a bad way of putting it, because I think it just breaks it down that maybe a ghost is more of a white light, and a shadow is more of a dark light, and it doesn't mean one's bad and one's good. But ghosts, like I try to figure out, how do I describe when I see something that's a white light, because I do see that. Right. So what is that? You know what I mean? So I don't know. That to me comes off as more of like a ghost. I don't know.
What's the difference?
Right.
Is what I really breaks down for me. It's like, what difference does it make whether they're showing themselves in a shadow form or a light form? Again, it's just...
No, it definitely...
It just says to me that there's another place besides here. I don't believe that there's a hell. So I don't think that the shadow people are coming from a dark place, and people that see bright apparitions of spirits, those are coming from a good place. It's just a different use of energy.
Yes.
And what's available to them, their individual energy and its power. Mm-hmm. I think it has a lot to do with the person that they're showing themselves to.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Because a lot is mistaken.
Yeah.
So we can see that our understanding of this is greatly mistaken a lot of the time.
Absolutely.
So the last thing I think they want to do is give the whole thing a bad reputation.
Yeah. I don't think that the word ghost should have a bad reputation. I don't know where we went wrong with that. For me, I would use the word ghost just as a descriptive. So, like, let's say that I saw a white figure in the hallway or something. I would probably describe that to you as a ghost.
Okay.
Because I don't know how else to describe it, you
Right.
know? Where, like, the original owner of this house that we live in now, he has appeared to me. It was all on the same day. He appeared twice. But it was not a ghost. It was not a shadow person. It was an apparition. It was him. He was sitting in my chair outside, and then he was sitting on the couch in the living room. And it was so real and so weird, but it was just like with the shadow people or the ghosts that I got it out of the corner of my eye and I was, whoa, what was that? And it took me a second to like realize what I just saw, because it's like, whoa, wait, there was something there, you know? There was a person. No, it wasn't. It was a spirit,
Right.
you know? So I don't know. For me, it's just different ways of describing them. I don't feel like any of them are negative. You know, are there spirits that are negative, are bad? I think that we've talked about this before, that there are souls that get confused and they get stuck maybe for a little while in the astral plane after they pass because they haven't really accepted the fact that it's time to go. And so they don't want to leave their body yet. But once they decide that they're ready to leave their body, then they go. But they're not bad. Though I think a lot of paranormal people call those ghosts. That's what they consider ghosts. But I don't know.
Right.
I guess it's what kind of label you want to use. I think of a ghost as like a white sheeted creature
Floating around. Well,
yeah.
and their sort of relation to haunting, which was,
Yes.
you know, the thing you were going to talk about next,
Yeah.
is it, you know, the word in itself, like haunting, to me feels like it's saying unwelcome intruder.
Right.
You know, and well, first of all, they're not intruding because you can't see them. Now, are there certain energies that they can do, like flickering, blowing out light bulbs, sending different temperatures of draft,
Oh yeah.
you know, through a room or a hallway? Yes. Do they send daggers flying in your direction? I don't think so. I think all that stuff is a little bit made up.
Yes.
They have certain laws that they have to abide by, just like in our dimension, there's physical laws that we have to abide by.
Right.
So they typically aren't going to break those.
Right.
So, you know, and we say, like, for instance, a cemetery, right? Are they haunted? Well, no.
No.
Because really, they're not even hanging out there. If you went there seeking somebody,
Yeah.
then of course.
Right.
Just for like all these paranormal shows, are those people, when they're walking into these, you know, old abandoned institutions and things of this nature, or prisons, are those people trapped there in some dark, you know, dimension? No.
Right.
They're not imprisoned there. They're there because that's what you're seeking.
Right. Exactly.
So they're trying to prove to you that, yes,
Yeah.
we were here at one time.
Yes.
But we're only here right now because that's what you're seeking, and then we'll be gone
Right.
when you leave, probably.
When people ask me, you know, if a house is haunted, I do have people ask me that, you know, if certain places are haunted, my answer to them is yes. Because if you want, what is your definition of haunted, first of all? If it means occupied by a spirit, then yes. Mm-hmm. We all live in haunted houses then. There's this meme, I just love it. It's this little boy, and he says to his dad, "Dad, can we go to a haunted house this Halloween?" And the dad said, "What's wrong with the one we live in?" And the son goes, "What?" Dad goes, "Good night, son." I love that one. But we all live in what we would consider to be a haunted house because we have spirits around us all the time. And yes, the spirits of people that have lived in our homes or worked where we are or whatever, they may occasionally visit those places. If you're talking about them, if there's an anniversary, if there's even if they just want to relive something about it, they may come to that place. But that doesn't mean that it's bad. Like when we went to Winchester and I actually communicated with Mrs. Winchester, it wasn't like she's sitting there all day haunting the place. Right. She was there because she knew that a medium was going to be there, and she likes to watch over her place.
She was teaching about what she had worked on her whole life.
That she was absolutely, and I'm sure I'm not the only medium that she's done that with. I'm sure there's plenty of others that go there that every day may even hear things from her and don't even realize. Because that was her life's work, right. And that's where she spent her whole life, and she didn't have any family here. So, you know what I mean? This is like, that was a big thing in her life. So, of course, she's going to spend more time there. It doesn't mean that it's haunted. Right. You know, okay, so let's talk for a second about why somebody might think that a house is haunted. The energy that spirits bring in is heavy. If you're not used to it, it can take you to your knees. I have had it a couple of times make me feel very sick, very, very, like my equilibrium's thrown off, like I'm having a panic attack, like I'm going to throw up. Not so much anymore because I tend to recognize it now before that happens, but it's kind of like if they can't get your, attention any other way, you feel that energy and it's strong and it can absolutely make you feel all of those ways. But that does not mean that it's a spirit there to hurt you, to make you nervous, to that because it's angry. Yeah, no. It's showing you it's there, making you feel that it's there, but that's how you're reacting to it and how your body's reacting to it. It has nothing to do with, the spirit themselves. No. You can also be picking up residual energy, and that's kind of what's left over in a traumatic event. So you could be picking up some of that residual energy. So there's a lot of things that can be happening if, you're in a place and you feel this kinds of thing. But I promise you that there is no spirit that will hurt you. They just won't. It's not in their rules. They don't want to.
With our generation, especially, the several generations now, growing up in movies and getting all these things put in our head before we really know what's going on. I used to go back to Amityville Horror. That's based on a true story. That's a haunted house. And then you come to find out, no, that's not.
Yeah, no.
No, there was actually producers that came and sat in there and wrote this. They lived there. They wrote the story.
Yeah.
And sold it. What about the Red Room? The Red Room was like a little tiny box off a closet. I think it fit like a tennis racket and something else that was in there. It was just like, how disappointing. But then I realized, well, no, that's great because it's just not real.
Yeah.
We just want to sell it as real.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. I asked our listeners if they've ever seen a ghost or an apparition, and 60% said that they have. I thought that was a pretty high number.
That's cool.
And then Nick commented on it, and he said, the lady in the white dress wanted with me at my dad's house. I'm not exactly sure what he's saying there, but he goes on to say, so I guess a more broad question would be, why do some spirits show up so vividly? And if you don't know them, what are they trying to communicate to you? So I think every spirit will present itself differently depending on its own energy and what it thinks that you can handle and what it wants to show you. I know Nick, when he was younger, he saw things and he was discouraged not to believe those, and he was worried about those. Right. So it could have been that this woman that you're talking about, this woman in white, that she may have really been wanting to get through to you that it's okay or deliver a message to you. And so that's why they comes through so strongly. Right. I really feel like a lot of times it is to deliver a message. But it's a positive message. They're not coming to you to say, get out of here before, you get killed or something. It's nothing like that. They really have good intentions. And I think that one of the things about spirits that we don't really realize is that they don't have a lot of boundaries. We have to set the boundaries.
Yes, that was exactly what I was thinking.
So, like, for example, I just recently remembered and had a flashback of my first time seeing what I guess I would consider a ghost, because it was just a white light, right? And it was just a white light in the corner. It was the craziest thing, but I was little. Right. I had to be younger than 6. So why would a ghost or something come to me because they know that you're going to be nervous at 6 years old and what is this, Why do they do that? I'm not really sure. Maybe they wanted to start early with me and were trying to, test some things out.
Yeah, I think it's that you're at your purest.
Yeah.
So you're the least judgmental.
Yeah.
Probably the most accepting.
Yeah.
And probably the least threatening, too.
Yes.
Not that you're going to do anything to an orb, but...
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. And that's honestly where parents go wrong, too, because I do remember actually telling my mom that there were things that were frightening me, and I would run out of bed and go into her room, and she took it as far to put these clippy things on the side of my bed that held the sheets down tighter so that I couldn't get out of the bed to come running to her.
That's nice.
Yeah. So this vision that I had the other day of that apparition that I saw, I couldn't get out of bed because I was strapped in there. Isn't this lovely?
Yeah.
Yeah. I wish I could, well, I can, because she's a spirit. Ask her, what was with the clips? What did you think was going to happen with those? I learned how to get out of them. I just had to wiggle my way out. But you're trying to convince
She
a kid
didn't want
here
you to interrupt her sleep.
That's exactly what it was.
That's all it was.
With my ghost. She didn't want to hear about my ghost stories anymore.
Right.
So, but if she would have encouraged my ghost stories, I probably would have been a medium a lot earlier than I was.
Probably.
But I think they really just want us to know that they're around and that we can communicate with them, because if we communicate with them, our lives do become easier.
Yeah, I think if even with Nick, if he's experienced in the past or still does, is you can set a boundary of please don't startle me and show me anything that I don't really need to know or hear. They honor that.
They do, to a T, actually, yeah.
But you have to set it because they're waiting for you. It's strange. You would think, well, they should know all, be all, but again, it's different. They have different laws there. So there's obviously certain things they can't just walk around and show all themselves, or this world would be... It just wouldn't be the same world.
Absolutely.
And we wouldn't learn the things that we need to learn.
That's right. Absolutely. For sure. So that's our ghosts and hauntings.
Yeah.
So we only have a few minutes left, so I want to move on to the last topic that we have, which also falls under the paranormal. And I didn't really think about this before, but this is ESP, okay? Mm-hmm. And ESP stands for extrasensory perception. And this is a paranormal phenomenon in which people receive information about their environment in ways that doesn't use the normal 5 senses, aka the 6th sense. Mm-hmm. So I've been living in the paranormal world and doing ESP and not realizing it, thinking these are all completely separate things, but they're not. It refers to a wide range of abilities, including telepathy, telekinesis, which is moving objects with your mind, precognition, which is predicting the future, mediumship, talking to spirits, clairvoyance, which is having visions. Right. So this includes all of those things. Right. When I think of ESP, for whatever reason, I think of those stupid Zener cards. I hate those cards that have it has like a star, and one has a star and a circle and a square and a plus sign, and then they lay them flat, and you're supposed to pick which one is the plus sign or what's under this card or whatever it is. And those are really they mess with your mind because you really, really have to listen. Right. So that's the first thing that I think of ESP. Actually, in the beginning of Ghostbusters, they do an ESP exercise. Do you remember? Mm-mm. Yeah, the guy actually had really good, but the girl was pretty, and so they were going with the girl instead. Wow. But if you've seen Ghostbusters, you know what I'm talking about. So I asked our listeners if they have any of these ESP sensory things. And a lot of them do. And so the most common is mediumship, talking to spirits.
Yeah.
And then the next one is clairvoyance. And you know what? I think a lot of more people are clairvoyant than actually realize it. To be clairvoyant doesn't mean that you see everything. It means that you see some things. Mm-hmm. So if you have any kind of visions at all, then you have a level of clairvoyance. Mm-hmm. The next was animal telepathy. And then precognition, which is predicting the future or psychic work. And then telepathy with people. Nobody said psychokinesis, which is moving the objects with your mind. I have tried a lot of different things. And I will tell you that there are some things that I can do with my mind energy-wise. But I can't pick something up and move it across the room. Like the Force. I'd like to be able to, but that's pretty much what this is talking about. But with energy, we can control things with our mind. We can, my mom's best friend once stopped a pinwheel for me from spinning with her mind. It's energy. That's all it is energy. And if you focus your energy on it.
I absolutely believe levitation is a part of our laws. We just don't buy it.
Yes.
Yet.
Yeah, and that's what it is that there's a couple of reasons why we're not able to do these kinds of things. And the number one reason is belief.
Yes.
I tried to light a candle without it being on fire already, okay? You try and do the things that you're going to do. The thing is this is possible. I really, truly believe it's possible. I just don't really believe that I can do it.
Right.
So until I really, truly believe that I could do something like that, I'm never going to be able to.
Right.
It comes a lot with the belief and with our vibration being so high.
Yes.
So a lot of these people that, can do this kind of stuff, they vibrate at a really high rate.
Yes.
Like Jesus.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's a good example of levitation right there.
All of it.
A really good book that I read many, many years ago by Richard Bach called Illusions, and it's basically like a modern day Messiah, but the guy that there's a guy that's in the story along with this guy that shows him how to look at the things that are in our world and their energy and manipulate that to a point where he can walk through walls. He can do certain things that most of us are going, what the hell?
Yeah.
It's manipulation of energy.
That's exactly what it is. And if you can do it, you know, whoa.
That is the difference between the old world and the new world.
Yes, absolutely. It's just on a higher vibration level, too.
Right.
Yeah. So there is my episode for you. There is one other thing that I forgot to mention earlier. Because this is a paranormal podcast, I wanted to mention that in a few weeks I'm going to be on a paranormal podcast. I actually recorded it a few days ago, but it won't be out until they said the end of November. So as soon as it is, I'll let you know.
Cool.
But the name of this podcast is Paranormal Peeps. And it was a husband and wife team that interviewed me, and they were so sweet. They were really sweet. I had such a great time in the interviews, so I'm excited for people to hear it. So as soon as it's out, it was fun. So I get so nervous. I could hear you in
the other room, but I didn't know what the heck was being said.
Yeah, you just hear my end of the questions, not what they were asking. So, but it was lots of fun. So, anyways,
cool.
So there you have it.
Very fun.
Yay!
Very good. Well, before we say goodbye to our friends, would you like to share your information?
Yes, you can find out anything you'd like to know about me and schedule an appointment if you'd like on my website, SamanthaJonesPsychicMedium.com. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram at Spiritual Joneses, or also on my website, and our email is it is spiritualjoneses@gmail.com. It's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you, sir.
Yes, for my art, djonesartcollection.com for the web, at djonesartcollection for Instagram and Facebook, and for the music, gypsybrown.com for the web, and that is for it for me.
Yay.
Well, we hope everybody got something out of this paranormally.
Yes, and we hope you had a wonderful Halloween as well.
Yes.
Happy Halloween.
Don't eat too much of that leftover candy.
What?
But I might.
I was going to say, you can send it here if you want. Because our kid's not trick-or-treating this year because she's too old for that now.
Yeah, she boycotted us.
Yeah.
Like, get out there and get us some candy. She was like,
Get your own candy. So we did. But we could use more. No,
Yes.
Anyways,
Well, we hope everybody has a great week.
that we do.
Until next week.
Peace and love.